Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a partial home reset after a very heavy 2 months. In March, I had to pretty much step back from content creating between the stress of job searching, a few setbacks, and shingles. My body just shut down. This isn't a deep clean. It's a gentle reclaiming my space and my life one room at a time. But it's also a reminder to myself that when life hits hard, I can do little baby steps to keep me going forward. So if you are in a season of feeling heavy, I hope that I can encourage you and give you motivation to reset in your own way, whatever that looks like for you. So let's get to it. Jumping right into it, March started a bit heavy. And I was dealing still with my job loss, the stress of interviews that didn't work out. And honestly, it was just a lot of emotional weight. And I kept trying to push through it all. But as a result of all my stress, I got shingles. It came out of nowhere and it completely knocked me down. The pain, the fatigue, the fog, it was completely overwhelming. I could not content create to save my life. I could barely make it through the day without being in such excruciating pain. I could barely show up for myself, let alone for others. And trust me when I tell you, I tried. I tried every single day. And honestly, my house just kept on getting out of hand. It was getting uncontrollable because my husband is in the middle of yet another reno, which I can't wait to share that one with you. But I could barely bring myself to do any cleaning. So on my good days, I would try and do as much as I could. And today, as you're seeing this, is a good day. So I was able to get into the kitchen and really try to do the most that I could, since it had been a while since I had really cleaned up the space the way I wanted to, which included actually cleaning those trash cans from within, because you might not be able to see it, but they were pretty nasty. But yeah, the kitchen was the first place I had decided to reset. It's where we eat, is where I make food, so it's important to keep that area clean. It wasn't a complete disaster, but it had become a reflection of how I felt, which was overwhelmed and a little neglected. I really didn't have the energy to tackle everything, so I focused on a section at a time. Whatever I could do during the time I felt good, I did. So I wiped down the counters, I reorganized a little bit, I threw things out because, sometimes that mail gets all accumulated in one spot. And I don't know, there's also something that feels so good about wiping down my countertops and getting them nice and squeaky clean. So that also kind of makes me feel good when I can actually thoroughly clean a space. So I focused on that area a lot as well, and the faucet, and not to mention the sink, which also needed a deep clean from all the accumulation of the food getting stuck on there. And as I mentioned, it all depended on how I felt, what my mood was, if I felt good enough to do as much as I was doing. And I have to tell you, sometimes midway through a cleaning, I would start to feel like I was declining. Either I was really tired, or I started to get the pain that I was getting from shingles. And listen, at that point, I would say to myself, good enough is good enough. And I feel like that's something that I learned during this season, because honestly, I'm the type of person that I'll just keep on pushing through until I am just completely bedridden and I cannot get up because I've pushed myself too hard. So whenever I felt like I was getting to that point, I would just stop. I would stop what I was doing, and if I needed to lay down, then I would lay down. And part of me was thinking to myself, you know what, God, thank you. Thank you that I am permitted this time off of work that I can recover. Because had I been working, had I had to go into the city to take the train or walk into work and be in an office, I honestly do not know how I would have been able to survive that. Because I'm telling you that certain days I would just not be able to like crawl out of bed. I would just get my son to the bus and back. And if I had to lay down, I would lay down. And that is where giving myself grace came in, because even though I was pretty upset of not being able to put out content or utilize my time to do the things that I know needed to be done, I realized, you know what? Right now, I have to give myself enough grace to say, it's okay, Anit. You can't do everything and you are not expected to. And whether or not this is going to slow down the growth of my YouTube journey and creating content and pushing things out there so that I can continue to get my subscriber count up, whatever it is that I needed to do, then you know what? If that had to take a back seat, then it had to take a back seat. Because one thing that I think that we take for granted is our health. You guys, without health, it's nearly impossible to do anything. And you really don't realize that until you are confronted with a health challenge. And when it completely shuts your body down that you cannot do anything despite the fact that you want to, it is what it is. You really can't do much out of that. And trust me, it's not for lack of wanting to, but when the body says no, it was just no. Like, I could not break myself out of it. And if there's one thing that I like to try to do as much as possible is produce quality content. And I was not about to do that with low energy and practically in tears, because when I tell you guys the back pain, it's something out of this world that I have not felt before. Apparently it's nerve pain. And again, that's just nothing that I've ever experienced. I've had other health challenges like COVID, where I was down and out for about a week and maybe had a month of fatigue, but this completely was on another level. I've been experiencing chronic pain on a daily basis, and that I've never experienced before. So what I did to try to be a little bit more proactive on the pain is eventually I had to get myself on pills. So I did Tylenol throughout the day. It was Tylenol arthritis, which was the only Tylenol that actually helped. And then the doctor prescribed me gabapentin, which now I call Gabby because we're on a first name basis, and I take it at night. But that's the only thing that kind of helps me get through, and not even that when it's at its worst. I am happy to say that now I have been seeing a chiropractor for the last almost 2 weeks, and that seems to be helping me along, and I'm trying to wean myself off the pills. This recording I did a few weeks before me starting the chiropractor. So at that point in time, like I said, had small periods of time that I felt okay and would proceed as well as I could. All of that to say, do not take your health for granted. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you are grateful every single day for your health. I think that that's one thing that we don't value enough and we don't thank God enough for. It's like if you're feeling good and you're having a great day and you don't feel an inch of pain and you're not sick, give thanks to God for that, because there are people living with chronic pain on a day-to-day, and I really have to give it to them, because like I said, I've been in chronic pain for now 2 months daily, and I really don't know how people do it for months or years at a time. And on that note, I also want to share how even when I was experiencing pain, I would still thank God that I am healed. So I was just proclaiming it in faith. And recently I started getting back to my prayer board because I had even neglected that. And after thinking about it, I'm like, you know what? This is all a distraction from the enemy. It's a distraction to get me away from the routine that I was having with my day-to-day morning prayers. It is a distraction for everything that I am doing to move my life forward. And I had to identify that. I had to rebuke it, and I continued to pray and thank God for my healing and thank God for my health. Even when you don't see it, you should thank God, because faith is believing without seeing. So even though I might not be experiencing the immediate relief, I have to thank God that it's already done. And that's what I've been doing lately. And yes, I've been feeling a little bit better, but I am not completely out of the woods. But either way, I will continue to pray and thank God for my healing. One thing that I do want to share with you that I've been doing recently as well is declaring His word over my life. And that is by saying, by your stripes, I am healed. I love that verse. I think it's a beautiful verse to declare over your life when you are feeling sick, when you are not well. So I would love for you to keep that in mind. The next time that you pray and you are in pain, declare it to God. By your stripes, I am healed. Of course, I will be linking that verse for you down in the description. So please feel free to check that out. Here I am in my living room. This is a lot of where I spend my time with family and friends when they come over. And it really needed a good clean. I needed to vacuum. I just really wanted to reclaim this environment and get it back to its clean state, but it didn't stay like that for long. And let me show you why. After I finished this process, I went downstairs to finish cleaning the downstairs, whatever I could. And as you can see, it was a huge disaster because we are in reno mode. So I got to tell you, whenever my home is in reno mode, that automatically makes me feel not well because my mind is not organized and things are not organized. I did my best to do what I could here, at least put the clothes away and at least try to tidy up the space so it's walkable. But I have to admit that I've even neglected to, and I wouldn't even say neglected, I haven't even mopped this area much because he keeps coming in and out, my husband. He's doing reno, and I'll give you a sneak insight into what we're doing. We are doing our master bedroom walk-in closet. And so it's almost not worth it. Here I am taking a break to check my emails and also apply for jobs. But at this point in time, I was not feeling well. And, there's Avery trying to comfort me, but I needed to take a breather and I needed to also look for a job. That's a lot of what takes up my time during the day. You would think that being unemployed, you have all the time in the world. And for some reason, the day just goes by so quickly. And there's just so much to be done. This was my Amazon find, which I want to share with you. I ended up having to get a calendar for my fridge. My son plays baseball, and sometimes it is hard keeping up with the schedule. I thought this would be a great way to kind of keep track of his daily activities because this kid is out in baseball 4 days out of the week. And guess who cannot take breaks and days off from taking him here and there? Because no matter what, you are a mom first. Your pain kind of gets tossed to the side and you do what you have to do. So I really love this calendar. I'm actually going to link this down for you guys as well. I thought this was a great way of keeping track for him and myself and my husband to see what we are doing, what. I filled it out immediately. And then I also put a little shopping list below. And finally, guys, I was able to reach my bathroom. This is a space where I love to keep tidy, but it felt like the most neglected of all my spaces. This was actually shot on another day because after the cleaning I did that day, of the other spaces I showed you, I was completely done. But I finally got to this space and I was so relieved to do so. A lot had to be done. And I also needed to clean because I was getting ready to go to Georgia to see my daughter, which that will be for another video. But I needed to get this space clean and I knew it was going to take a lot out of me. I like to deep clean my bathroom. And as you can see, I'm going in with my scrubber brush and I needed to get through this entire space with minimal bending as possible because the more I do, the more it triggers my back. I have to tell you that when you're dealing with fatigue, every task feels like a mountain. And healing isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual and mental. And sometimes the smallest reset can bring the biggest shift in how we feel. So I want to just tell you that if you've been in a season like this, burnout, illness, disappointment, I just want you to know you are not alone. You don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to show up perfectly. Sometimes good enough is good enough, and done is better than perfect. Try to take it room by room, moment by moment, and grace over perfection always. After reflecting about my experience getting shingles, I thought to myself what triggered it. And honestly, it wasn't the fact that I caught it from someone else. It literally was triggered by stress, which means that I need to slow it down. And also, I really need to listen to God when He speaks. This came about because I was waiting on an employer to answer me about a job that I really thought I had. And I just kept on checking my emails to the point of obsession and following up and following up and following up. And they did not answer. And at one point, I thought to myself, finally, I came to this realization that I didn't get an answer because God had already answered. The answer was that I wasn't going to work there. God knows why I wasn't going to work there. I had put myself almost in a state of depression, which never has happened. I do not sadden easily. I get moments of sadness, of course, but not to the point to get me sick like this. And I have to admit, I was a little bit disappointed in myself for not trusting that what God has is better than what I can even think of. I thought that, you know what, this is the job for me. This is the job that I need. Well, I still have not found a job, but that job was not for me. And I can faithfully say, you know what, God, I'm going to leave it in your hands because your timing is perfect. Your ways are perfect and your ways are higher than mine. So this is a reminder that don't force things that you think are better for you. If it's not happening, then it's probably more than likely that it's not for you. And when God is ready to bless you and ready to give you whatever it is that you are asking for or whatever it is that you need, the timing will be perfect and it will all be worth it in His time. So I really wanted to share that with you today and take you with me as I was cleaning my home. So thank you for sticking around. Of course, I can't get by life without a few funny moments. So stick around for the blooper that I have for you guys. But thank you so much for being here. And don't forget to speak life over yourself. Speak peace over your home and speak healing over your body. By His stripes, you are healed. All right, everyone. Listen, like I said, done is better than perfect. Nothing that I did in my house was completely to the perfection, at least the way I like to do it. However, I did get certain things done that made me feel accomplished within the way that I was able to do so. Anyway, I am so grateful that you guys are here. I have some exciting videos to come and some special news coming up, special transformation. So if you guys are interested in all of that, please like and subscribe to help me keep on bringing forth more content. I am so excited to continue to content create and bring these videos to you guys. And I am more excited for our interactions together. So please drop a comment. You know that I love to respond. Have a blessed one, everyone. And thank you again for watching. Oh, heck no. How'd you get in here? Ugh. Ugh. Why me? Why me? Die! Woo! Everyone just calm down. He's dead.